How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Mass Effect. Last time, we checked on all of our business in the Citadel, we exposed Saren for the traitor that he is, and we were given command of the Normandy SR-1, which, again, isn't really something that Shepard probably would have wanted, because it seems, like she said in the last episode, it seems wrong that the captain isn't in charge here. He was the one who, he has more experience with the galaxy. He is the one who had commanded this ship to begin with, and it feels like this has just been given to her. Just like her posting in N7 after a coup, but that is another story altogether. And today, apparently I'm bleeding. Hang on a second. Let me fix that. It must have happened while I was moving the mic stand. I don't really have any way to pressurize this while I'm reading codex entries or listening to the crew. Okay, well, we'll soldier on anyway, because today we have to do crew conversations and we have to do codex entries. Now, I realized something off-screen, and I will show you what that is. First of all, let's check the journal, because we have a bunch of new things to do now. We have finally Artisoni in the Artemis Tau cluster. We have Novaria, where there's Geth interest, apparently, in the corporate research colony. I'm not really sure why the Geth would be interested in Novaria. I didn't know they could show interest in a way, although it could just be that they're mobilizing. Because they've already attacked Pharos. And as we said before, that's where we're going first, because that's what Shepard would want to do first, is secure the civilians at Pharos. But anyway, I realized off-screen, if you look at our codex entries, I think we have a fair amount to get through here. 1, 2, 3, 4 in secondary, 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's plenty of codex entries to get through in the primary and secondary there. So, what I was thinking is that I was trying to think, how can I spread this out so that it's not like a 2-hour long upload? Because first of all, my internet can't take that. I'm pretty sure my internet would just kill itself if I was to upload a 2-hour long video. And second of all, it wouldn't be very interesting to watch. So, I will tell you how I'm going to handle that in a little while. First, let's talk to the crew, though. Hey, Presley.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
Non-humans? You mean like the Garrison, Rex, and Tali? I mean, what's wrong with them?
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
We do need their help. You don't realize how big of a threat Saren is. If he was able to kill another Spectre, we're going to need all the help we can get.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
All right, good. Presley, tell me about your history a little bit. I wasn't exactly given files immediately after I was given control of the ship, so I need to know some things about the crew before I go.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
Oh yeah, I think I remember reading about that. I was in the pilot team that kept them from jumping to FTL. I didn't get much credit for it, but it was a field exercise, they said, and so I was like, oh yeah, I'll take it. Turns out it ends up being the Skillian Blitz. How the hell do you know? What the hell are you going to do about that? Field exercise turns into the Skillian Blitz. Anyway, so now you're on the Normandy.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Well, we're glad to have you here then, Presley. This should be, I'll try to keep this posting interesting for you, although I'm sure hunting down a Road Spectre on its own would be interesting. So, well, I'm, like I said, glad to have you here.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry if the commentary is a little bit choppy right now. It's been a couple of days since I recorded because I was trying to get all of the episodes of my last playthrough up before I started back on this, so That's why I'm a little bit rusty, but we'll get there. We can go down there to talk to the rest of the crew, but first we have a couple of other people to go talk to. Caden's over there, and we're going to go talk to Dr. Chakwas as well, but I think, yeah, there's another codex entry in here. The personnel manual. So would that give me information on, like, all my crew members, or, like, how does that work exactly? Awa. Lieutenant Alenko, how you doing?
Anything you need, Commander?
Nothing really that important. How about, let's try this first.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
Yeah, I guess we would have had a lot more casualties if any other Alliance ship had been there, you know? Like, if we hadn't gotten there first and we were any other Alliance ship that couldn't just get in with the stealth systems, it would have gone a lot worse, because they probably would have taken the beacon, killed all the colonists, and ran. So, I suppose this is the best case scenario, although I still don't like it. Anyway, personal input.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
Alright, it's fine with me.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
I wonder if he actually says it, because I don't think I have ever actually chatted with him and gotten a lot of conversation with him until after the first main mission. I'll check in with him periodically as we go to Pharos, because we're not actually going to be going there today, because I have to do all these codex entries, but on the way there, there's a few things to do, basically, is all you need to know. So we will be checking in with the crew. I'll check in with the crew and see if they have anything to say in the meantime.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I think you've pretty much told me everything you need to tell me right now. Let's try this, see if there's anything new.
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
Yeah.
But humanity
Sensitive
needs
souls,
the
blah, blah, blah,
Alliance.
blah,
if we
blah.
want to
Go.
keep it.
Alright.
Commander.
Sorry, didn't really, I had a feeling Dr. Chakwas did... Whoa, lag spike, holy shit. I had a feeling Dr. Chakwas didn't have anything new to say at this point, but I figured I would check anyway, just in case. Honestly, not a lot of people in the crew probably have that much to say right now, because it's been, you know, hasn't been that long since we last seen them on the Citadel, so... If Caden's not talking, that means we probably won't get much out of Ashley either, because she has that same, what's your opinion on the last mission line that Caden does, so... Worth noting. But I suppose we'll find out right now, because we're heading to them right now. Let's try to get a sense of where Rex is at. He's a mercenary. He's been around. He can probably give us some more information on where we're going.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard.
Well, thank you.
What can I do for you?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at.
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
Oh, come on. Like I said, you're a mercenary. You've probably been around the galaxy quite a bit. I know she's probably more willing to talk, but come on, man.
You Krogans live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a bit of a problem.
Yeah, they tried the same with us, but we fought them off.
It's not the same.
What do you mean it's not?
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation?
Oh yeah, there was that.
An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth?
Alright. I see
and
your
I
point.
suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I see your point, Rex. They didn't get quite that far with us.
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Alrighty, I won't, but, I mean, I would imagine this is a touchy subject because you are totally involved in this, but, you know, I guess we'll press a little bit.
I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to upset you.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
You think it's because they're being ignorant of all of this? So, this genophage, what can you tell me? I think this is a what can you tell me about it type of a deal. I don't imagine that Shepard was briefed on anything but the most basic concepts of how the Krogan live. You know, like, they were really rampant population-wise, then they got infected with a disease, now they aren't. That's probably all they told me, so.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Well, that seems kind of strange.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist?
Good point.
You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
I don't like your pessimism on that, Rex. And besides, couldn't you fight for credits and then invest in a company? Well, actually, I was going to say you could invest in some other race's R&D company to do something about it, but there was kind of that radio broadcast on the Citadel saying that they did so, and then they didn't get any results back. So I guess that doesn't really work. Well, Krogan are in quite a pickle. So this is causing you... So is the genophage causing the extinction, or is it just the Krogan's bloodlust?
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
I don't know if Shepard would know this at this point, but that might be as a result of their widespread population, their widespread colonization after they killed all the Rachni. Although we did kind of learn that from Avina back on the Citadel. So this spreading out is causing you to not be able to consolidate power then.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
And that's a shame. And I think Shepard kind of feels for this, the situation that the Krogan have, because, like I said before, I think I said it before, she feels like humanity is spreading out too much, and they aren't putting up enough defenses against attacks in the colonies that they already have. They're more worried about expansion than they are about protection, and it's hurting us, I feel like Shepard thinks, so I think I feel for him.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
We'll talk another time. Anyway, Chief's over here. Also, there are a bunch of lockers over here. What these can do, basically, is you can equip your party members with different items out of missions this way. So in case you need to equip them with anything, you can actually go over here and do that. I'm not going to do that yet because I don't have anything available yet, so sorry about that little lecturing going on in the background. Wanted to let it calm down before I got started again. Anyway, Chief, anything to say about what's going on so far?
Commander?
Yeah, how are we doing?
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
No, I mean, I understand we didn't save your unit. That's probably really hard to take.
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit.
Yes, ma'am. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
Ashley, it's not a matter of being alert. It's a matter of knowing the threat that's coming, and you can't know the threat that's coming if they've been inactive for 3 centuries.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
They have flashlight heads, ma'am.
Eh.
Make sure it doesn't happen again.
I mean, I guess so, but, that doesn't mean that you can see them coming in the middle of the day. Flashlights only work to help you spot troops at night, Well, but anyway, good. Make sure it doesn't happen again. I'll make sure that you keep up that offer, because you'll be coming with me for quite a few missions here. Anyway, can we talk?
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Alright, no problem. You just got assigned to the ship, so I guess you kind of have to figure out exactly, get into the groove of doing this sort of stuff, because you haven't exactly, been on the Normandy before. So, alright, we'll talk later.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
Alright, so there's that. I don't think there's anything over here. No, this is the docking bay. So, like, that's where we would have gone out with the, when we jumped out on Eden Prime. M35 Mako. It's too bad we didn't take this with us on Eden Prime. Probably would have made things a lot easier. Anyway, Mr. Vicarian.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander.
Yeah, no problem.
I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
What do you mean you knew?
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
Well, you're buried by rules, but, like, the rules are there for a reason, man.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
Okay, that's not
CSEC
really
wants it
correct.
done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
But hold on now. I know that they're criminal, but they had a reason for doing the things that they do, unless they're sociopathic. Your reason for leaving CSEC was because you didn't feel like following the rules? Does that make you any better than a criminal?
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
Kind of
There's
childish.
more to it than that.
Okay.
It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest thing to decide. I'm glad you're here and all, but, it's obviously a big part of your personality, and that kind of comes with, that's why it's so hard for you to leave.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this.
And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
Well, wait, what is your way exactly?
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I wasn't trying to... I understand, Commander.
Not yelling at you, Mr. Vicarian, just don't want innocent people to get injured. There's two sides to every story, and if you only look at one, you're not much better than the people who are committing the crime. So, just keep that in mind. We'll talk more on it later. Anyway, our rec officer. Hello.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
Oh, so you brought some with us after the Citadel?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
I'm gonna pay you for the stuff that's on my ship?
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap.
Oh, okay.
Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
Oh, so that's what the licenses are for. Okay. And so basically by buying the stuff from you, I'm investing in you purchasing new weapons for me, basically. So these licenses are... I have a few. What exactly do they do?
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
Yeah, he's not kidding. There's quite a few good ones if you can go to them. So manufacturers are like the Certa Foundation and all those other ones I already have right now. I don't think this is a renegade option. Let me see.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
Yeah, it's just a question.
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
Okay, so basically, the ones that we've gotten already are good for certain items. And we can see which items they are based on what brand of items there are in his inventory. So we'll take a look at that in a minute, but so how do you get these new items out here on the Normandy? Like, are we going to have to pay a shipping fee?
How often will you get new items?
Well, that depends on how many licenses you've purchased, but I'll rotate items on a regular basis regardless. And anytime we land someplace with a big enough port, I'll buy, sell, and trade whatever I can. Check back often. I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic items will be stocked consistently.
I wish they gave this guy a name, honestly, because I feel like he's really important. He's kind of that backstage guy that kind of... He helps you out a lot because his items get really good towards the end of the game as you go here. And it makes it easier so you don't have to keep going back to the Citadel to purchase other gear and then come back and, having to keep going back and forth. We're still going to go back to the Citadel after every main mission anyway because there's some stuff that we can do there along the way, but, if I need to buy something, I'm probably going to buy it from the rack officer here. So let's see what he's got.
Let's see what you got.
You bet, Commander.
I also kind of like his hat. I want that. Anyway, he starts out with... I think he starts with the Hankadar license, and that allows you to buy Scorpion 4 if you have the credits for it. But Scorpion 4 is really, really good armor. It's, as you can see, probably one of the best sets of armor that you can get at this point in the game. So it's really solid, but we don't really have the money for that right now. We will, just not yet. Sniper rifle, assault rifle, medium armor. I'm not a real fan of the assassin armor, honestly, especially for humans, because like the only human that you... I'm going to spoil something, it's not really that big of a spoiler, but the only human that you get that can really equip medium and heavy armor is Ashley. And she needs the tech and biotic protection because she's not as good against those things. So we're going to have to... So it's either a matter of taking her with... stacking her out with armor like this, and then giving her upgrades that give her more shields or more tech and biotic protection later, or just buying armor with tech and biotic protection to begin with. I got to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that, but it's something to keep in mind. I honestly don't think I'm going to buy anything from him right now because none of those are all that good. Let's see, do I have anything to sell to him? I could sell that grenade upgrade. I don't need it. We've got an assault rifle, shotgun. You know what I was saying? I think I should equip my people first before I go and I do that. But before we do that, let's go talk to Tally because she's the last person in the crew that we need to talk to. And then basically what I'll do is I'll switch. Well, there's also Engineer Adams, as you can see here. But basically after I'm done talking to Tally, I might spread out her conversations too because she's pretty talkative. But once I'm done talking to her, I'm going to go to the lockers, and I'm going to take care of equipping everybody with everything that they need, and then I'll probably cut, and then I'll come back and do the codex entries. So, Engineer Adams.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
Is she being a nuisance? I mean, Rex said that she talks a lot.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
Yeah, she seemed like she'd be pretty helpful.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Yeah, not exactly. I'm mostly just here to talk, but, Adams, I haven't really been down here in the engine room that much, so I haven't really gotten to know too much about you. Care to let me poke your brain for a minute?
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Probably because of the stealth systems, making it so much easier to get around. Actually, before we ask about the stealth system, let's ask about the Normandy.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on. Probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
I'm guessing the drive core is the thing directly behind you, then.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
So, you made this ship, it's a frigate class ship, and you put in a drive core that's twice the size of what it would be on any other ship. That's impressive. I'm surprised that they were able to engineer something like that. So, we're faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer. What about our stealth systems?
Fill me in on the IES stealth system. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
Boy, that's quite an I think they mentioned this in a later game too. That's quite an incentive to keep the ship from, running not on what's the opposite of optimally? Inefficiently, I guess. It's you either do that or after a few hours you get cooked alive. That's kind of nasty. Now, I think if I say so we're invisible, Shepard will kind of ponder like she doesn't understand how engineering works, but we're invisible to basically most sensors, right?
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
And FTL speeds give us away because we can't keep the heat emissions from jumping to FTL under control. It's just too much energy, right?
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
So basically, as long as we don't fly into a system that's already really already looking for someone on long-range sensors, we're not really going to be able to give away our position, which puts us in an advantageous position when we're flying onto, say, a planet and trying to do an investigation there.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Thank you for the information. That is very helpful. Drive core is quite something. Can't say that we've ever seen anything like that, but, well, we have. If in Shepard's case, she has seen something like that before, but not something this enormous, It's probably takes a little bit of getting used to, Tally, hello.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
It's not all Alliance vessels, actually.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space.
It's quite a change.
I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
So you're kind of an engineer a little bit of yourself, right? I mean, I kind of figured, considering you dismantled that Geth memory core, but this is your forte, huh?
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
Oh, wow. It's quite a long time ago.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Okay, so you go on the pilgrimage to bring back things that they wouldn't normally have available to them in the flotilla. Okay, that makes sense. Still though, like, I don't know a whole lot about your culture. I just know what they told us in school, you know. The Quarians made Geth, Geth rebelled, the Quarians were evicted to flotilla. Mind explaining a little bit further?
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong.
I can imagine.
Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
Such as?
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point.
Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
We also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed.
Also makes sense.
In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births. Though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
I mean, I imagine it works in theory. In practice, it would probably be hard to get that sort of a law in place, but I guess if you're not given a choice, like the Quarians were not given a choice, it would make it easier to, you know, encourage something like that to be taken up by the entire population. This Conclave is your government?
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
Oh, so it's more of a rule by the people type of a deal. I was under the assumption that this was more like, I don't know, structured socialism, but it's democratic.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts.
Wow, that's quite a
It's a
decision.
safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
Well, it seems like the government works pretty well, considering the situation that they're in. It's impressive, really. So, but then some people leave the ships in order to go on this pilgrimage, right? Why don't you tell me a little more about that?
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
So you don't necessarily go back to the ship that you were born on. You go to a new ship, and then you have to kind of buy your way in?
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society.
And your chances of survival, too.
Even when the gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
Seems like a dangerous life to live.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most.
And that's why you're in the exosuit,
By the
right?
time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
Again, sounds like they have a lot of control over this, which is pretty impressive, really, considering how isolated they are. That's pretty interesting, actually. I don't know if I want to ask her about the Geth yet, because that was kind of a very positive conversation. I think we'll save the Geth conversation for when we first run into the Geth again, so... yeah, because that's a particularly long conversation, and we'll probably run into Geth between now and when we get to Pharos anyway, so we'll save that for another time.
I should go.
See you later.
Yep, later. Yeah, I don't want to bring up, old wounds with her at this point. She's seemed like she was on a pretty good note for right now in terms of, what she was talking about and her mood and everything, and I don't want to bring her mood down or anything like that. Got to keep morale up. I am still, well, I'm not really the XO anymore, but that was my job for a while, so kind of had to make sure that everything gets done all right. Okay, so I'm going to check on what everybody's equipped with. I'll equip them with the most optimal gear that I have. Might go buy a couple of things from that guy, probably more than likely just going to sell stuff, though. And then I will be right back, and I will show off what I have equipped.